As someone who was a ward of the state, I always thought about how the state, like belonging to the state. I mean, the state is not a mother. The state is not a father. The state cannot hug you. A state is not your family. A month after my mom turned 15 years old, I was born. And by the time that she was 18, she had 3 children. And so I feel like the story kind of really starts there. All of us have been estranged from our fathers, so I've never met my father. From sort of what I remember, I kind of bounced around between my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mom. And then when I was 13 years old, I ended up in foster care. I lived in a homeless shelter, and then I lived in a group home, and then a long-term group home. Then I went to USC, and that became my housing, so I received a full scholarship. I eventually did exit formally out of the foster care system when I turned 18, which was when I was a sophomore in college. And then my experience with the foster care system reemerged in my life later on. It was the experience of that of my sisters. So about 2 years after I had graduated and joined the workforce, my 2 youngest sisters, who I'm a decade, 11 years apart from, they entered the foster care system. When I found out, I think there's certain moments in your life, maybe that you just intuitively just know like what the right answer is. I just immediately knew that I had to step in and take my sisters. While I was only 21, 22 years old and didn't really have very many resources, I just felt like I would never forgive myself if I let them enter into the same system that I so desperately wanted to leave. And at the time I was dating, and I just kind of felt like, oh my God, I'm making this decision, how is this going to affect all the other things going on around me? Growing up the way I did, I craved stability so much, and now here was this thing that would be doing the opposite of creating stability in my life. I remember telling my partner at the time, I understand if this is when it's over. She completely supported my decision. In me trying to do the right thing, or what I felt was the right thing, I just felt so much friction and resistance from this system. And even the questions that I constantly got of are you sure? Are you sure? Of course I was sure, because I was them. I was in their shoes. I was a young preteen and a teenager living in these group homes. So if anyone could be sure, it would be me. There should be encouragement and financial resources and emotional support to be able to help them through a transition. Societally, we know that usually requires resources, which is why things like baby showers exist. You need people to rally behind you. And so me and my partner, we've been married almost 4 years now. We did take both my sisters in, and I became their legal guardians, but there was a long journey between 21 years old and I'm almost 30 now. And so I got to celebrate their birthdays. I got to see my sister get braces and be so happy. It's really amazing when I look back at the last few years and think wow, we did it. Family is so fun, and family can be full of so much love and tradition. And I think with there being so many of these percentages and statistics out there, I think we need to do more work on just sharing with people what an amazing thing it can be, and it will be if you step up to be in the life of a young person. Your life can be transformed.